you will be free from the demonic the moment you see through the illusion. Now, what is this illusion, you may ask? Well, the way that the demonic works is that it has to get you to feed it your energy of your own free will. It can't just come into your life and mess around. Well, it can mess around, but it can't just steal your energy. It's like a fisherman. It always throws out the exact bait, the things that you are most vulnerable to. And if you bite, it's got you. And it reels you in piece by piece, slowly, until before you know it, you are hooked. If you pay close attention, you could watch that there is a force in our lives that is always dropping seeds of temptation. And when we open ourselves up to that, what may have been the tiniest entryway for this force to work its way into our life becomes bigger and bigger and bigger until now it can possess us and get us to do whatever it wants. Now, the number one food source for the demonic is fear. And if it can't find fear, then shame, guilt, and any other negative emotion will do, because it feeds on negativity. And so the more we allow our focus to go down the path of negativity, the more we feed this power our energy. And you see, this is where attachments come from. Because when we give something our energy, it takes a piece of us. And so we become one with that thing. And that is what an attachment is. And so the more energy we give something, the more power it has over us. And because we are giving that thing our power, we become weaker and that thing grows stronger. But you see, it doesn't matter what the forces of the demonic try to do to you. You always have control over what you choose to focus on. And your mind will deceive you into always trying to feed your energy to the demonic, to the negative. It will get you to believe certain stories. It will get you to worry about the future. Oh no, these bad things are going to happen to you. And through believing these stories, we fall prey to this influence. And so I say, do not give the demonic any power by taking away your belief. As I like to say, there are no such things as demons. There are only angels in disguise. Because all demons are nothing but pawns for God to serve a certain purpose. And if we can shift our perspective, we can see how the forces of darkness are always trying to help us. Not in the way that they are our friends, but in their attempts to destroy us. If you have the right mindset, they can't help but help you. It's like if you are a warrior, you train on the bad guys, and they help you grow stronger. But if we choose to entertain these demons by saying, oh no, they are real, they're trying to steal my energy, they're trying to kill me, well, then that opens you up to fear. And so you see, it doesn't matter what the facts are. It doesn't matter if there is a demon trying to get you. Because if you entertain that thought, you automatically become open to its influence. Because if you believe that this is true, you cannot help but be afraid. But once you realize that all is God, all is under the influence of God, God is the only thing that is, then you see through the illusion. Lately, if I ever get a negative thought or a demonic image pops into my head, I can see right through it and see that God is behind that mask. And so in that moment, all fear just falls away. But when you are stuck in the illusion, that is when fear consumes you. And you see, that's the whole game of the demonic. They have to get you to believe in this story by keeping you in unconsciousness. This illusion is like a bubble, and in this bubble, they have dominion. This is their world, this is their territory. But once you exit this bubble, You are free from their influence. They can try all they want to attack you. But if your mind is focused on God, if your mind is focused in the right directions, what power does the force of darkness have over the force of light? It has no power. So that is why it is futile to attempt to attack the forces of darkness. All darkness, all evil is self-destructive. Sometimes we look at the world and we think, man, there's so much evil in the world. There's so much suffering. These evil people are destroying the planet and they're enslaving all of us. What a tragedy. But we have to come to understand that this story that we are living in has already been written and that there is already an ending. But we are the characters in the middle of the book, headed for the inevitable. And the inevitable is that the light always wins in the end. Because the darkness cannot sustain itself. It is unsustainable by its own nature. So all of the evil people who think they have power and control over this earth, they have already lost. There is no war, there is no battle. But because we are in the illusion of it all, we believe that the forces of darkness rule the world. But in fact, they have only been given temporary permission to do as they please, because that is a choice that you can make in this life. You can choose to have all of the things in the world. You can have the freedom to do whatever you like in this life, but you risk losing your soul. And at the same time, if you want to keep your soul, there are things that you are not allowed to do. You're not allowed to kill people. You're not allowed to hurt others. You're not allowed to take advantage of other people for your own gain. So there's a choice, there's a trade-off. But really, there is no choice, because the things of the world are dust, and your soul is everlasting. So it is only when we are caught in the illusion that the demonic attempts to keep us trapped in. Do we fall for that trap? Do we fall for the illusion that I can find lasting satisfaction in a temporary world? But that cannot be done. It just cannot. But here is the real trick. It's not so much that they have to get us to believe in the illusion, although this is a big part of it. But more truthfully, they have to get us to believe in a false version of ourselves. They have to get us to believe that we are a certain way. Because if we are a certain way, then the story that we are living in is 100% relevant. It means a lot. We are heavily invested in this life. And so, for example, if I believe myself to be a rich banker, then I am super invested in what is going on in the world. I am very invested in my power and my control and my status here as a human being. And in that identity, we trap ourselves in the illusion. But the moment you realize that you are not this body and you are not this mind, then the forces of the demonic have no power over you. Because the illusion that they have created doesn't work anymore. You see through it. You do not even see demons. You only see God manifesting in a demonic form. Think about how this changes your life. You become incapable of focusing on negativity. The demonic is supposed to be the most negative thing. And yet, if you can't even focus on that, if you can't even give that reality, well then what darkness has any power over you? What illusion, what unconsciousness? You are always pointed toward the light. And therefore, you have ultimate power in this life. When you keep your focus pointed on the divine, on what is good, on God, then the demons have no power over you. That is freedom. When the forces of the demonic, of darkness, come to get you, and you see what is going on, you see through the illusion, you realize that they are helping you reinforce your attention, your focus back toward the light. I like to think that the devil has been my greatest teacher. There has been no force, no person in this life that has brought me closer to God than the devil himself. And so how could you make an enemy out of somebody who's trying so hard to help you get back to God? That is why Jesus said, love your enemies. When you have no enemies, there is no negativity in your heart. Not even the devil is an enemy. And that is where a lot of people go wrong, is that they want to blame and put their burdens upon some force outside of themselves. And that too is illusion, because there is no such thing as separation. We are all one. So all things are an extension of ourselves, even the demons. And so when we judge, when we cast blame, when we attack, we reinforce this separation. And the irony of it all is that separation is the nature of the demonic. And so we cast judgment and blame when we ourselves are contributing to the problem. Once you realize that there is no separation, you see that there are no such things as demons. There are only angels in disguise. Because all things are in service to God. And sometimes there are things that are so bad in this life that we cannot possibly believe that they are of God. But by definition, God is everywhere always, which means that there is nothing in this existence that is apart from God. There is God in everything, in everyone, even in the most evil demonic forces. Remember, you do not need to fight the darkness. That is like swinging your arms in a dark room and expecting something to happen. But the only thing that will happen is that you will get exhausted. The only thing that you have to do is turn on the lights. Don't allow the forces of the demonic to steal your attention, but allow them to remind you to keep your focus on God.